is, how do you know when it's time to fish a topwater lure in the spring? Yeah, it's actually pretty easy. You know what the answer is? Yeah, waterfowl. When you start seeing ducks in the water, little duckies, when the duckies start hatching and the geese start hatching, you see the little goslings, the little ducklings swimming around the water, it's topwater time. Because it's just one of those things that's almost like, you know, there's all these little keys in nature, whether you hunt and fish, that trigger you into recognizing something else. And for fishermen, for musky anglers in particular, big pike, or as my European friends say, pikes, for those big pikes, when you start seeing hatching waterfowl in the spring, it's topwater time. So it's seasonal. It's seasonal. And when does this occur? Typically right after Memorial Day, you know, early June. And so those of you who are always looking for water temperature, well, that water temperature, you know, on a cold spring, the water temperature won't be up that much. You know, it might be in the low 60s on a really warm spring with a lot of with a lot of good sunlight early in the year. Might be in the early 70s. And again, it also depends on where you fish, but it's seasonal. So early June, when those ducks, the little ducklings start to hatch, that's topwater time, and you can pretty much bank on that. In fact, you know, if you live on a local lake and you're watching ducks hatch, count the ducklings, and you'll notice after a week or so, there might have been 6, but now there's 5, and then a few days later there's 4, and then there's 3. Well, you know what happened to them? Now, let's talk lures and technique. You know, hard to beat a TopRaider this time of the year. It just is. And you know, the prop style topwater bait mimics so well a fleeing duck. You know, the panicking fleeing duck. In fact, I'll make a couple casts and kind of show you that for those of you who've never seen one before, seen a prop style topwater lure like the TopRaider. That it just so perfectly mimics a small waterfowl creature, you know, in a panic mode. And that's why this bait is really tough to beat. And can you fish it wrong? Probably not. There's a couple things you can do to make it even better. Now let's talk about the retrieve. Again, it's pretty hard to fish this lure wrong, and that's why everybody loves this lure. That's why the TopRaider, until more recently, since a lot of other prop baits have come out, it's been such a popular seller, you know, worldwide. But you can see I've got some cover in front of me here. And typically I like a long cast, not always, but most of the time I typically like a long cast with a topwater lure with a prop style bait. So I'm gonna cast it out there, and then I always gun it early like that. And then I come back to like a gurgle. You can hear a pop, 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 pop gurgle. Steady retrieve, yes. And then rod tip in the water. Always figure 8, and I always figure 8, by the way. I always figure 8 my topwater lures under the water. And you visit my YouTube channel, you'll see countless fish, big fish that I've taken with the subsurface figure 8 that followed. And that's the key thing. Whether you're an experienced musky angler or one that's just getting started, the inexperienced guy doesn't realize how deadly the figure 8 is in general. But the inexperienced guy really doesn't understand how deadly the figure 8 is on a topwater lure subsurface. There's something about it. With a topwater, with a TopRaider in particular, when you cast that bait out, cast it out here, again, gun it like that, over that shallow water. Then I'll just bring it back to a nice gurgle. You can crank, by the way, you can crank it real slow like this too, in cold water, and that will catch you fish, especially when the fish are sluggish. And then, you see how I submerge the rod, make a big, round, circular figure 8. And I maybe catch at least 30, maybe 40% of my fish that way, but honestly, folks, probably 50% of them that way, right? On an underwater figure 8. So, hook sets. slow down, hold, just like the movie Braveheart. Hold, 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 hold until you feel the fish, until you feel a bend in the rod. When you feel the rod bend, then you set the hook, and when you set the hook, you sweep it to the side and bring your rod tip down a little bit. Again, watch some of my other videos and you'll see this. You'll see me do this time after time again. It's just hold until you think got it.